So what do we see that we love about this right here? The y equals, okay? So that is the big key thing that we will keep pushing. When you see y equals and the y equals are in our answers, that we're typing this into the calculator, all right? So we're gonna go to graphs, and then remember, this is our y equals, and we're gonna type in what comes after the equal sign. So we're going control divide, minus 7 over 6. Make sure you get out of your fraction, x, and then plus control divide 11 over 6. All right, so we're gonna hit enter, and then what do we always hit? Menu 5-1. So menu 5-1, and then we're typing in the x's of the points they give us. So one of the x's is 1, so we'll hit 1 and enter. And no, this is definitely not it. All right, so let's take a look at our answer. I am going to skip B. Does anybody know why I'm going to skip B? I know B's not right. So this right here gave me 0.667. And when I look at B, I immediately know B is wrong. Does anybody know why? Because both of the signs change. When both of the signs change, all that happens is it gives me this 0.667, but it makes it negative. It just changes the sign. So I automatically know it's not B. So let's try C. What's the difference between A and C? They get rid of this negative right here, don't they? So let's just get rid of that negative right there. So we're gonna, now in the end, if what I said was confusing, by all means, type in B, okay? I know it's not gonna work. All right, so we're gonna get rid of this right here, hit enter, menu 5-1. Oh, 1 and 3, is that what we were looking for? Nope, it was close though, 1 and -3. So at this point, you probably know the answer, but once again, I'm going to remind you.
The signs are just going to change.
The signs are going to change, and that's it. So when you look at this, you can see both of these switch to a negative now, and that's going to switch it to a -3. I'm going to do it. I understand on homework, kids don't always like to do it, and I'm not going to argue on homework. On a test, please make sure you see the answer just in case you type something in wrong. So I'm going to put both of these to negatives. Hit enter, menu 5-1, and you can see that it worked. It switched it to 1 and -3, and then if we type in -5, we hit enter, and we get -5 and 4. So the answer is definitely D. All right, so this is what we've got to be great at, okay? And the fact that we do this every day is why you become great. I was talking to some kids today who were in my repeat class, and we were talking about the fact that kids don't fail the STAR test because of the hard questions. They fail because they're not perfect on the easy ones. And that's why we practice these all the time, is by the time we get done, you're going to be perfect on these easy ones. And then if you're perfect on the easy ones, I mean, in the end, after that, technically all you got to do is get a C after that. But most of y'all, as we go through, a lot of y'all know even more, like not even the easy ones, but the medium and some of the hard ones. And I think, especially in this class, I think we got a lot of guys that you're not going to be, y'all know when I say A, B, and C, that A is what we call masters. So y'all know on y'all STAR test, they have a level called masters. I call that an A. I think a lot of y'all in this class had the ability to get masters on this test, okay? So a lot of y'all, we're not sitting there going, oh gosh, we hope you pass it. We're sitting there going, oh, I hope you get masters. And then when you don't, you know, then you get meets, and that's a B on the test, okay? You know, there could be some of us that are trying to pass, but I think a lot of y'all's tests have shown that y'all will probably be trying to make A's and B's on the test. You're not just trying to barely pass it, okay? And that's because you've been doing a great job on this. All right. Question 12. What do we like about this question? There's a couple of things on question 12 I like about this question. It does have y equals. So if you wanted, you could type this in and match the graph, but there's something we like even better about this. And that is whenever they give you a line, we love to identify our slope dude right here. When they give us a line, we love to identify slope dude. Is this right here positive or negative? It's positive. Now, if this is positive, you can look at the number in front of X, and that number has to be positive. What can we eliminate? B and C. So mark off B and C. And we eliminated that simply because it's positive. Now, this back number here is called the y-intercept, right? If you forget, remember it's up here. It says y equals mx plus b. M is your slope. We just dealt with that. And this is the y-intercept. Now, I have no earthly idea what this is right here. There's my y-intercept. I have no idea. But I do know, is this y-intercept on the positive side or the negative side? Look at your numbers right here. It's on the positive side, right? Look at your answers. Your y-intercept has to be positive. I have no idea what 9/4 is, but I know it's got to be positive. What's the answer got to be? It's got to be A. Now, if you don't know how to do that, then what we do expect is this is y equals. I'm not going to make y'all do this, but I do want you to see if you have y equals, you could go type this in the calculator. So I'm going to go start a brand new graph real quick. I'm going to type this in real quick. You do not have to. Just watch me real quick. So I'm going to type in 3/4 x plus 9/4. Once again, I don't expect you to know what 9/4 is. I couldn't tell you exactly what it is as a decimal. Well, I take it back. If I think about that, I probably could. Hit enter. Yeah, I forgot it was over 4. If it was over some other stuff, I wouldn't know. But over 4 is like dealing with quarters, 9 quarters. So I wouldn't know.
Definitely quarters.
Yeah. So we hit menu. Oh, wait, I don't have to hit menu on anything here. So on this right here, you're just telling me, does this picture right here look like this picture? It's a little bit off because this only goes to 3. But in general, does it touch -3 and in between 2 and 3? Touches -3 here in between 2 and 3. Does that look like that picture? Yeah. So you can always type this in and match the pictures. Okay. That is an option. It's probably actually the tougher option because if it's not A, which it was A, then you may have to type in all 4. So definitely easier to eliminate slope and y-intercept just by looking if it's positive or negative. All right, number 13. So this one, what do we love about this one? The y equals, yeah. So you can see these first 3 all have y equals. Okay, so all 3 of them, you could be typing them in and letting the calculator help you. So we're going to start a brand new thing. So go to graphs. We're typing in our y equals. So I'm going to type in A, 7x minus 18. Hit enter. Menu 5-1. So remember, this is nothing to us right now. So we want to type in at least 2 of these. So I'm going to type in these 2 x's and see if it gives me those y's. So we're going to type in 2 and see if it gives me -4. So type in 2. Oh, it does. Gives me -4. So when I type in 3, if it says 3, 3, and it does, A is our answer right there. I love it when it's A. Makes our life so much easier. All right, so hopefully y'all are like, yes, we know this right here. If you're a little like, I'm not perfect on it, guys, we still got, what, 3 more months before we take the STAR test? We test at the beginning of May. Let's see. We're really at the beginning of February. So we got February, March, April. So we got 3 months where we're really going to get to practice y equals. We're actually, the second part of this unit, we get into another way we get to use graph that we'll get to practice a lot. So we're going to be practicing y equals hopefully a lot and get really good at all the different ways that y equals can help us on the STAR test. All right, what do we got down here? Okay, we do not consider 14 to be easy at all. We are practicing this more because I think that there's a lot of y'all that there's probably about half of us in this classroom that I can think of that can do this question right here. Oh, I want to show you a little trick here. Oh, so obviously you won't have this on the STAR test, but on my test, this is always up, right? We've talked about a while ago, we haven't talked about this recently. Whenever you're talking about slope, which slope is this number right here in front of x, okay? So right here, I want you all to look at this question. I want you to see how you could probably get the answer without doing very much right now. Okay, maybe, I don't know, we'll see. But, and then if you take this slope right here, the slope is some form of these two numbers. Do y'all see that? Now, when you look at this, and then look at these numbers, you can see that the x goes on top and y goes on the bottom. And you might be able to use that to help you, okay? I don't know if you can or not, but you might be able to. So when we take a look at this, on this one, all of these put 2 on the top and 3 on the bottom. Okay, so that doesn't help all that much. All right, so we're going to write this out. So we got 2x plus 3y is equal to 1. So this, if you don't understand, this is definitely one that I would guess C on. But like I said, I think that there's about half of us that are good at this right here. Does anybody know what we get rid of first? The 2x, yes. So we always get rid of this 2x first. So if it's a positive 2x, we're going to subtract 2x. So we do that to both sides. That's going to eliminate all these x's right here. So we bring everything down. Now, don't just look at this as a 3. It's a positive 3. All right, well, if it's positive 3, I don't have to write down the positive. I can just write down 3y. But always pay attention to the sign to the left. We never combine these, so we want to write the x first. So this is a negative 2x. And then the 1 is positive, so we put plus 1. And then we finish up by getting rid of what the number next to y. We divide by the number next to y, so we divide everything by 3. So all the 3's are gone. All right, so we have an answer that has a negative 2 over 3, so mark off all the positive 2's over 3's. And then we have an answer that has a positive 1 over 3, so the answer looks like it's going to be D. So if you can't do that, there's nothing wrong with that, okay? But we want to really make sure that we keep covering this for those of you that can do this, because like I said, you guys are trying to make that A on that STAR test. All right, so number 15 is, why do we love this question right here? What do we see? Yeah, f of x is really a y, isn't it? So this is y equals right here, so we're going to go type this into graphs. So we're going to go to graphs. I'm going to clear off everything real quick. There we go. So go to graphs, and we are typing in. So control divide, we're going to type in 2 over 3x. What am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. Y'all know I'm doing wrong stuff, right? Y'all just going to let me look like an idiot like that just because y'all can laugh at me? I see how it is. Okay, fine. All right, what am I typing in? 15. We got 2x squared. Everybody laugh at the duck. That comes from a movie. I bet $10 says nobody knows that movie. Yep, that's what I thought. All right. So we hit enter and we hit menu 5.1. And so this doesn't tell us anything. You look back at the problem and there's a random number there, that -4. So we type in that -4. And when we type in -4, we see that it gives us 15. Is 15 an option? Yep, it's A. So today we had a lot of calculator stuff. Okay. So hopefully if you were typing this into the calculator, you got a lot of practice with your calculator today. All right. I know when I say this, y'all really don't care, but I am sorry that I wasn't able to walk around today to make, help y'all individually and make sure that everybody remembers how to do that, because, that's absolutely the best way to practice. But getting old sucks. So I advise you guys not to get old, but just like everything else, nobody ever listens to the teacher, and y'all are going to get old. I know it, just to spite me. Yeah, oh yeah, watch this. I'm going to get old. So I see how it is. All right. Y'all know I got my first kids graduating from Waco High. So I came here 4 years ago. I got my first kids graduating this year, and one of them just signed a letter to go to McMurray. Huh? They go here? Yeah. So my first, no, I'm sorry. I call y'all my kids. And so, so I got my first students, but I call them my kids. So I got my first kids graduating. Well, they had signing day the other day for kids who are signing to go to college to play sports. So I looked on there to see if any of my kids were signing. And one of them was signing. Xavier Williams, who's a wide receiver, was signing to go play at McMurray. And I had him as a freshman. Biggest goofball. Like, we had so much fun in class together. He was so much fun to pick on. I would never pick on a student, would I? But he was so much fun to pick on. I was always getting after him for something. And but anyways, he's a pretty good wide receiver. So he's signing to go play with McMurray. So. Who? McMurray. It's a college. It's an NAI college in Abilene. And so the only reason I'm really familiar with McMurray, there were two places I looked to go play college basketball. I looked to go play at McMurray. Basketball? Me? Yeah, I was a pretty good basketball player. Anyways, I went on a recruiting trip to McMurray. And the thing that just absolutely threw me off, like, I just could not take this right here. They were showing me the dorms, okay? And so we're walking around the dorms, and they're like, oh, here, go into the restroom. This is your restroom here. And I walked in, and the restroom had 3 toilets wide out in the open, like no what do you call it, stalls or anything. And I walk in, and there's this dude just sitting there using the bathroom, and I'm like, hey, how you doing? And I walked out, and I was like, nope, I ain't doing that. I need a place that has dorms with stalls and stuff like that. I was like, nope, not doing that. And the other place that I was going to look at was Alpine, Sol Ross. Y'all know we have a coach here named Sol Ross, right? I don't know if y'all know that, but one of the baseball coaches, the baseball coach, I think, is named Sol Ross. Well, there's a university called Sol Ross. And I was planning on going there. Head coach thought I was heading there and everything. And my body was falling apart, and then my grandmother died. And so I chose to move in to take care of my grandfather for a year, and ended my basketball career. And good thing, because now here I am, and I'm falling apart. If I would have played college basketball, like, I'd literally be using a walker right now or something. All right. So let's take a look at this question. Now, this question is not old review. This is new review. Okay. This right here is not going to keep you from passing the STAR test. So if you don't know how to do this, then you're going to be okay. So what tells me what to do here? It's actually these right here. In between these parentheses, I have plus and minus signs in between this stuff right here. So this stuff right here is really some form of addition or subtraction, except for right here. When there's a minus, there's an understood 1. And so right here, we do have to do 1 set of mountaintops. So you're going to see that this problem is going to be a little tough right here. Oh, I want to give you all a test-taking strategy. Now, this strategy is not perfect, but take a look at this. If you had to eliminate 2 answers, I want you to take a look at this up here. If you had to eliminate 2 answers, what 2 answers would you eliminate? With no reason, really, except for the strategy I'm about to tell you. If you had to pick two answers to eliminate, does anybody, just look at your answers. There's two answers that I would probably say it's probably these two, and I would eliminate two. I would eliminate H and J. Now, does anybody know why? They look completely different than these right here. Do y'all see that? When you see answers that are very similar to each other, a lot of times, I'm not saying all the time, but a lot of times, that's a pretty good indication that it has something to do with that, okay? So if I was just doing, my own test and I was like, I don't have a clue, I actually wouldn't guess C on this one. I would guess either F or G because these answers look so similar to each other. All right, so what we're actually going to do is our mountaintops right here. And so I'm going to bring down the 2x squared. There's nothing on the, like technically there's a positive 1, but I don't really need these parentheses. So I'm going to just bring down the 4x. So this is a really tough question right here because there's a lot going on. So when we distribute this negative, then we get minus 6x, and then negative 1 times 3 would give me negative 3. And we're going to combine like terms. So right off the bat, I can see that this has x squareds. Does this have any x squareds? No. So I can eliminate these two. Obviously, when I combine these two, it's going to come out to negative 4x squared. This has to come out to, the x's have to come out to negative 2x. I don't have to worry about any of this right here. The only thing I have to worry about is the numbers themselves. What's 9 minus 3? Yeah, and the answer is G. So really tough question right there. I know that maybe I made it look a little bit easier because I knew what I was doing. But in the end, I think for a lot of us, that would be an extremely tough question. All right, flip your paper over. Oh, I gotta go up. Okay, so yesterday we started introducing multiplying. Today's worksheet is to work on how to tell the difference between multiplying and adding, okay? So we're gonna be going back and forth from multiplying and adding. The key is you look in between the parentheses. So can anybody tell me right here, are we multiplying or are we adding? We're multiplying because there is no addition or subtraction in between the parentheses. So if we're multiplying, then I really want you to use the notes up here, okay? So you see where it says multiplying polynomials? Does this problem look like the top problem or the middle problem? Look at how this looks. I got 2 things here and 2 things here. Y'all know? Let me make sure y'all know what I'm talking about. So this is the top problem right here, and this is the middle problem right here. It looks like the middle right here, doesn't it? So it has 2 terms here and 2 terms there. The technical term is a binomial and a binomial. Okay, so that's what that looks like. So you can use this to help you. Now, what we do is we do the distributive property from each of these. I'm going to start with the x. You're going to do a mountaintop from the first in this parentheses to the first in this parentheses. So draw that mountaintop right there. Okay, so the first in this parentheses to the first in that parentheses. Now we're multiplying. So we multiply the bigs and add the smalls. Now there are no bigs. All I got are smalls. I have 1x here plus 1x there. So 1x plus 1x is 2x's. All right, so then we're going to multiply from the first one, which is our x, to the second one. Y'all see how I'm doing those mountaintops? So from the first one in this parentheses to the first one in this parentheses, then you do it from the first one again, but this time to the second one. Okay? All right, so now you got a number and a letter. Anytime you have a number and a letter, just squish them together. So we got negative 7 and x, just negative 7x. Just squish them together. All right, so now we've done both of these mountaintops. Now we're going to do mountaintops from the second one, but we go underneath. So if you look at my poster, you'll see I go underneath with these. So I'm going to go from the second thing in this parentheses to the first thing in this parentheses. Once again, you got a number and a letter, just squish them together. All right, and then last, we have the second one in the parentheses to the second one in that parentheses. All right, so here we have two bigs. So the rule is we multiply the bigs. -7 times -7. Two negatives make a positive, and then 7 times 7 is positive 49. Now, I know this is new, so I get it's going to take time. All right, and you may not even understand that poster, even though it is color coordinated. So pretty. So pretty. All right. So if you look at this poster over here, after we do that, I underline the two things in the middle. Almost always the two things in the middle will be like terms. Both of these have just X's. So we can combine these, which is add or subtract them. So -7 minus 7, we go to our calculator, -7, so go to regular calculator, -7 minus 7, and we get -14. So these combine. So I'm going to bring down my x squared. These combine right here to make -14x and then plus 49. So I know that, like I said, this is a little difficult today because, it's just going to take a lot of practice. This is absolutely huge in Algebra 2. Okay, this will be considered the easy in Algebra 2 right here. You'll get a lot more practice, and it'll be, like I said, this will be considered the easy stuff. This will be the stuff you look forward to in Algebra 2. Okay, this one. Is this considered addition or multiplication? Addition, because in between the parentheses we're adding. So when we're adding, we only combine like terms. So I've got an x here and an x here. Now, when you're adding, we only add the big numbers. This is the confusing part, is we're going back and forth. Here, we multiply the bigs and add the smalls. Here, we add only the big numbers. The big number here is an understood 1 and an understood 1. So what's 1 plus 1? So this is 2x. Okay, we took care of the x's. So now we have what we call the constants, the number by themselves. We got -7 and -7. Well, we just added -7 and -7 here. So -7 and -7 make -14. And we're done. That's it right there. So adding kind of a little bit easier, isn't it? Because all you do is combine your like terms, and that's it. All right, so take a look at this one. Is this adding or multiplying?
Oh, my bad, adding.
Adding, yes. So it's always, and like I said, this can be tricky. Okay, so just make sure you're looking in between the parentheses. This is adding. So if we're adding, we can only combine like terms. So I'm going to start with the biggest exponent of 2. Are there any other x's that have an exponent of 2? No. This x squared is all alone, like Coach Settles in high school. And nobody wanted to date Coach Settles in high school. It was sad. All right. So now we'll mark this one off, and we have just an x. Is there anything else that has just an x? Another poor Coach Settles. That is so sad. Why doesn't anybody like these? What's wrong with them, huh? I mean, they're people too. It's not right. Okay. And then the last part here is we got just the numbers. We call these constants. They're just numbers. So -4 plus 2. Does anybody figure that out? Uh-huh. Okay, when they're different, when one's positive, one's negative, you actually subtract. And so Yeah, even though we say -4 plus 2 when the signs are different. Notice here when both of them were negative, we added, we got -14. So this will be -2 right here. And you can always throw that in the calculator. So this would be your answer right there. All right. So this one right here, is this adding or multiplying? Multiplying, very good. So in between here, there's no plus or minus sign, so this is multiplying. Okay, so for this one, we've got to do our mountaintops, okay? So we go from the first one in this parentheses to the first one in that parentheses. And the rule is multiply the bigs, add the smalls. So we've only got one big number right here. So we're going to keep our 3, but then we're going to add the small number. So I got 1x here plus 2 here. So 1 plus 2 would give me 3 x's. All right, so then we're going to go from the first one here to the second one now. So you go from the first one to the first one, and then from the first one to the second one. All right, so we multiply the big, so 3 times 2 gives me 6. And then I only have 1x, so just bring that x here. Okay, so I've gone to both of these. So now I'm going to go from the 4. So I'm going from the second one. So I'm going to go from the second one to the first one in this parentheses. Now, when it's just a number and a letter, you just squish them together. So -4x. Just squish them together. All right, and then we got from the second one to the second one in that parentheses. So -4 times 2. 1 negative makes the whole thing negative, so I know it's going to be a negative, and 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, so I told y'all that usually the 2 in the middle combine. But look at this. Is anything going to combine? No, all these x's have different exponents. I am not going to do anything here. But on a test, they would flip these two on a multiple choice test. The bigger exponent would go up in front, but we're not going to worry about that today. Okay. All right, so let's take a look. How are we doing on time? Okay, we're doing good. All right, I'm not going to lie, this next one sucks. So first off, is this adding or multiplying? So look in between the two parentheses. If you don't see a plus or a minus, this is multiplying. So this right here would be multiplying. Now, what sucks about this is this has 3 things. So when I do my mountaintops here, I actually have to do 3 mountaintops on top and 3 mountaintops on the bottom. So we're going to go from the first one to the first one here. Rule is multiply the bigs, add the smalls. There are no bigs. We're just adding the smalls. So we got 1 plus 2. That gives me 3 x's. All right, then we're going to go from the first one to the second one. And guys, as I'm doing this, please remember, if you're struggling with this, make sure you're at least copying this down so that you get your grade. It'd be a shame for you to take a 0 when I'm doing everything for you. I get that you may not understand what you're doing, okay? But please make sure that you're copying this stuff down. So when we multiply this, we only have one big number, the 2, so we get plus 2. And then we're adding the small, so I have 1x plus 1x. So that's x squared. All right, and then we have one more. So that's what makes this different than a few of the others we have done, is this actually has 3 mountaintops because there were 3 things in this parentheses. Now here we just have an x and a 6, so there's just squish them together when there's just a number and a letter, so plus 6x. All right, so now we're going to do it from the bottom. So you can see why this sucks so bad, right? This one right here is not so bad. But this one that has 3 of these, like, we got to do another 3. There's going to be a buttload of these. All right, so we're going to do the first one right there. So from the 3 now, we're going to go to the first one. It's just a number and a letter, so we just go plus 3x squared. Now we're going to go from the 3 to the second one. Okay, here we multiply the bigs. What's 3 times 2? 6. So plus 6. And then we only got one x there, so plus 6x. And then the last one, we go from the 3 to this 6. What's 3 times 6? 18. That's a lot of work right there, isn't it? Okay. I mean, obviously on a test question, if there's not an easy way for your answers to help you, then probably a lot of us will guess C on this one right here. This is a really tough question. Okay, so we're going to go back. The biggest exponent is 3, so I'm going to underline 3 real quick. Do any of these have a 3 exponent? No, so it's another Coach Settles right here. He's all alone. I'm all alone. There's no one else beside me. Anybody know what movie that comes from? Oh, okay, now this is just wrong. Y'all were robbed of your childhood if you do not know what that went to.
What?
Went to Shrek. Donkey singing it. Y'all don't know Shrek?
What did you say? I didn't even hear
Oh
you.
my gosh, you heard it. You just didn't know that it was from Shrek. I know the truth.
No.
Okay, y'all need to go home and watch Shrek tonight and familiarize yourself with Shrek. One of the best cartoons ever right there. All right, so we've done all this right here. So now the next biggest exponent is x squared. Now I've got 2 of these. So remember, when we're doing this, we're just adding the big numbers. What's 3 plus 2? So it's just plus 5x squared. You do not change the x squared when you're adding. So we've taken care of all of our x squareds. Okay, so now we've got x's. So now we got 6 plus 6. What's 6 plus 6? 12. And then we just keep the x. Once again, you don't change anything with the letter when we're adding. And then the last thing, so I'm going to mark those off. The last thing is just an 18. It's clear because I've marked all of these off that 18 is by itself, right? That's why I marked these off. When you don't mark them off,